Hi, guys. So we are ready to begin a new live chat. I'm just setting up my screen here. La, 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 la. There we go. And this should be silent. There we go. All right. How are you all today? See there's some thunder going on from Mr. Drew. Sorry to hear that. Hope everything stays calm and smooth for you during this lovely evening. Here we got nothing. It's humid, it's hot. That's about it. So, I mean, it's summer. That's kind of what happens. And Lord knows it's going to be hotter down in Disney and Universal. So, since I'm assuming that's just us right now, following our standard theme of how would I plan for people, uh, I have some friends who are going down to specifically Disney. They're actually not going to go to Universal this time for their not their honeymoon, but for their one trip after their honeymoon, so their first anniversary. And it got me thinking, well, what would I do or schedule or recommend for somebody who was a couple? So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to follow the same parameters I always use, which is you're going to be there for 7 days. You're going to get there as early as possible on the first day. You're going to leave as late as possible on the last day. And then what would potentially come from the trip. Now, for somebody who's trying to do a romantic getaway, I'm really going to recommend trying to stay on property, specifically because then you don't have to worry about transportation. You don't have to worry about those additional costs. I mean, that's if you can afford it. And in a perfect world, if you've got the money, for romantic trips, you want to go deluxe. The lowest you really want to go for a romantic trip is really moderates. You know, the Port Orleans French Quarter, Port Orleans Riverside, Caribbean Beach Resort, and if there's not a convention in there at the time, the Coronado Springs. Although truth be told, that does make it relatively quiet because if people are in their conventions and their sessions, they're not going to be involved in being around the pool and the rest of the park all that much. So that being said, go deluxe if you can. Boardwalk, Grand Floridian, Beach Club, Animal Kingdom Lodge with a Savannah view, or if you want to go semi-off property, which would be the Swan and Dolphin. But any of those places where you have easy transportation to some of the other parks, where the rooms have a little more room in them, where they're a little cushiony, a little more comfy. So if you are spending time in the room, if it's a romantic getaway, you probably are spending time in your room. It's going to be an enjoyable time. You don't want to be there somewhere when some kids convention or cheerleader event is coming through and there's 50,000 kids staying on the same property as you. It's not going to lend itself well to having a nice, quiet, romantic time. So that being said, what I put together here is general. This is based on an overview of if they have a bunch of different interests and a bunch of different romantic desires in terms of the parks, because it would really truly get honed into the couple. Do they really love roller coasters? Do they really love food? Do they really love experiences? Do they really, all of these other things we've already talked about? What are the things that make them happiest? And then this would be adjusted and sussed based on that. So that being said, we're going to start on the first day and you land Magical Express to wherever your resort is. You haven't touched your bags since you put them on the Magical Resort, and you're probably going to be ready to hit the parks at 10:30 in the morning. And I'm going to suggest that you schedule for the first thing that you do, and this doesn't sound like it's romantic, but it kind of is in a sense of fantasy, is the first thing you do, you're going to go to Magic Kingdom. And when you get into the park, you're going to have a fast pass to see Mickey Mouse right up front at Town Square. So as you walk in, the first thing you're going to do is veer off to the side and you're going to go say hi to Mickey. And there's something very special about letting go of the outside world when you meet, the mouse in charge of it all. I know it doesn't sound romantic, and I kind of thought to myself, does that make sense? But I went, no, that's kind of the thing. This is a special occasion. This is a romantic getaway. The next thing you're going to do after you see Mickey, if I mean, truthfully, if you want to see Tink, you could do her too. But I think Mickey's the one that's going to kind of lend you into this. And it's only a few moments. And I think right now it's Mickey and Minnie. So it could be two couples posing together, which would be kind of nice. Then we're going to head over to toward the castle. And the next thing you're really going to focus on is getting pictures in front of the castle. Go to as many of those photographers as you can. Go do the memory maker and just go to all of them and get pictures together, get couple pictures together, see if they've got anything romantic. And that's a big thing through this whole trip. Stop at all the photographers, especially when you get to Epcot. Pictures, pictures, pictures. Make sure to get a pin saying the event you're celebrating. Yes, exactly. Make sure you get that pin. The romance, I'm celebrating an anniversary. I'm celebrating being in love. I'm celebrating whatever you want to put it as. That will make a difference. That will absolutely make a difference in terms of just the energy you get in being in the space and feeling special. And wear it for the whole trip, with the exception of one day that I've got in here, but we'll get to that. So once we take our pictures at the castle and just take your time, it's going to, if you find a short line on a ride and you want to try it, go for it. But I'm keeping this a little more low key, a little more generic. The first thing that you're going to do after all of that, or the next thing I should say, is you're going to go to Be Our Guest. Normally, I would not recommend Be Our Guest. It can be incredibly overpriced. I had bad food the last time I went. The service is fine, but it's not cheap. So truthfully, what I'm going to recommend for you is to go there for lunch. It's a quick service lunch, so you go and you order at a kiosk or with a person, and then you sit at a table and they bring the food to you. But you're in the castle. You can pick any room you want to sit in. You could sit in the dark room where the prince's face is getting scratched. You could sit in the room where there are all the pictures of them and the couples, and they're in the music box in the center. Or you could sit in the room where it's perpetually snowing in the big castle room. Now, that big room does tend to be an echo chamber. So if you want some intimate conversation, go to the prince's room where the rose is, or go to the other side room. During lunch, nothing's really going to be quiet. And truthfully, in Disney World, there's not a lot that is going to be quiet unless you find little out of the way places, but it will give you a little privacy. The memory maker is geared to a couples. Yeah, it absolutely is. I've gotten, having not been a couple, I've gotten mistletoe, magic moment, magic shots and things like that. So yeah, it's absolutely wonderful for it. So after you have lunch, and I'm giving you only about an hour and a half for lunch because it is a quick service, so you should be able to be done faster. I have us going to Under the Sea because you're in the back of the park. And the reason I picked Under the Sea is, yes, it's a simple dark ride, but you sit two people in a clamshell. It tips you back and you get to see the water going up over the clamshell. It is a love story. It's got a hello, whoever joined in. Nice to see you. Please, pop in and say hi. And we're talking about how I would plan for romantic couples going on a Disney trip. So Under the Sea, again, it's a nice, fun ride, and you're in air conditioning if it's a hot summertime. And then, again, just for something that's silly and lightweight. Hello, Headshot. Nice to meet you. So it would be something simple. I went for the sense of freedom and innocence and childlessness. And I went for Dumbo because while it is not the most exciting ride, you've got two of those units that go around and you're able to get up in the air, take a look around and see the park. This time we're still talking about where it's light up, but you get a good shot of New Fantasyland and the castle and stuff like that. It's up to you whether or not you would fast pass this one or not. It's one of those where if it's there, it'd be fun. Then depending on your interests as a couple, if you're a roller coaster team or if you're want to be a little more competitive, I would send you into Tomorrowland. And I would say either do Space Mountain, or if you're a little more competitive and want to be more playful, go do Buzz Lightyear. It's kind of a fun shoot 'em up game. Then, again, I know these things don't sound romantic, but in some ways they really are. Head over to Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor and go sit near one of the light bulbs and see if you get picked to be that guy, or one of you does. But there are certain moments when different people appear on the screens and you could be one of them. And then you've got that moment of you guys seeing yourselves on the screen and having that memory. If not, it's just fun stand-up comedy doing just silly, lighthearted stuff. It's a good show, nice place to sit. Again, you don't want to rush yourself around too much. You want to kind of enjoy your time. After that, we're going to head over to Adventureland, and we're going to do the Jungle Cruise. And that's more, it's a simple, fun thing, and I'm trying to kind of get you over to that area. Now, you could, if you were the type to want to go do walking things, you could climb up and do the treehouse, which is not usually used a whole lot. But it's a nice space. But I'm going to send you to dinner at Skipper Canteen. The reason I'm sending you to Skipper Canteen is honestly, it's the best food in the park. That or Liberty Tree Tavern, and I'll say that over and over. If you don't want to do a sit-down meal, I recommend you do for special occasions for romantics, and you could be put in a corner. You can have a more private space there for sure. but it is definitely one of the better food places. I generally guesstimate that it's about 2 hours for dinner. So when you get out, it's going to probably be dark out, and I'm going to say head over to the haunted mansion. Two people in a vehicle. You've got those quiet moments. You're in a dark space. Yeah, it could be scary, or it could be a place for you just to be romantic with each other. Aladdin's carpet might be a decent alternative to Dumbo. It is possible. However, the Aladdin's carpet to work properly does need at least three people, or at least two and two, or one on one. So you wouldn't be sitting together, which is the only reason I would say it wouldn't be romantic, because if one sits in the front and one sits in the back, so you can do both sets of controls, you're not having a big romantic moment. There are other more style like that I would recommend. I mean, Astro Orbiter, truth be told, might be one that's better for that, because you have to sit one behind the other, and that one goes really fast. So I would definitely say there's more potential for a couple thing there. Last time I went to a theme park, I was sick on the teacup. Yeah, see, I don't go on the teacup ride, Headshot. I went on there at that when I was like 7. I will never go on again. I no. Astro Orbiter, then for you, avoid it. Avoid it. Dumbo is lighthearted and has some speed, but not much. But when I got an Astro Orbiter, besides the fact that it's an elevator ride up, I was not expecting it to spin as fast as it did. It actually kind of scared me. Now, I'm not great on a lot of rides, as you'll well understand from listening to me as I go on, but I absolutely don't recommend that one. So after you finish the Haunted Mansion, again, taking your time, if there's some other ride that you can find, that's great. But if you're there as a romantic trip, head over to Rapunzel's bathroom. And when it starts to become dark, there's an incredible photo op there. And it's this bag that glows, and it's beautiful to have this beautiful light come up and hit you, and you can hold the bag as a couple, be very Rapunzel together. It's a great shot. It's a great moment. Oh, well, goodness, you're up late for England. Well, hopefully you'll have enjoy some of this conversation. You will find, actually, if you're from England, that you will get some of the best rates for coming out to see the Disney parks. For whatever reason, the packages you guys can get to come and stay in the parks for even extended periods of time are night and day over the kind of deals that we can get here in the United States. So if you have the gumption and the interest of coming out, absolutely recommend it. You will get some of the best pricing to stay at some of the best hotels, and yeah, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Just don't, if you're going to come here for an extended period of time, unless you want to be exhausting yourself, don't worry about going to the parks every day. There are plenty of things you can do without going to the parks at all. Oh yeah, and a boat would take way too long, wouldn't it? It would be like a long cruise. Throw in any Euro Disney advice. I mean, Disneyland Paris, I've only seen through other videos and other vloggers I follow. You know, you can take the train, actually, and I've seen if you don't want to fly. And from some of the vloggers I've recently saw, they actually said it was less stressful and more enjoyable if you want to take the train to Euro. It's actually called Disneyland Paris now. It's not called Euro Disney. And they've got some nice stuff there. They're also doing some new building in amongst the stuff there. So I don't have a whole lot of knowledge. If you follow the vlogger Adam Hatton, Hattan, take a look at his stuff. He's actually doing a series he just started last week with his recent trip to Disneyland Paris, and he's got a lot of good info if that's something you're looking toward. So back to the Magic Kingdom on your first day. So I'm going to recommend that after you finish Haunted Mansion and you do that photo op, you can, if you want a crowd, go to the front of the castle. If you want to be in a slightly more romantic, quiet spot, stay behind that castle where you were and stay either there or go over to Beast's Castle near the bridge. You won't be able to get all the way over, but stay there for the fireworks, and they will be in front of you and behind you. If you want the projections and you want the music in front of you, go to the front of the castle. The one thing that I discovered, and Drew, this is something that I will talk about a little more when you see the video from the second day of this last trip I just did. The trees sparkle in the show. So when the projections are going on the castle, the trees actually look like they've got magic going through them, because they're not big lights. It's just this very light, incredible sparkle thing. It was really amazing. Yeah, it actually, the hairs on my arm went up, and it was really kind of magical. It was really nice. Paris is not as good in my opinion as I have a house in France. France is a lovely place. I haven't been to France. I have been to Italy and to the Netherlands. I loved both. Love to go back at some point. I mean, if you've got a house in France, it's a whole different ball of wax. I realize that. But if you want to get a little Disney magic and not fly, that's going to be your best bet, I think. Because your other options are Asia, or more flying across the country in the United States. And that's, we're probably one of your shorter flights going to Florida versus going to, say, Shanghai or Tokyo or something like that. I think Shanghai would be closer. So after you finish watching the projection show, if you still feel like being out and about and you're still in that back area, I say jump on Winnie the Pooh's ride. It's a cute little fun thing. It can fit 4 people in a car, so you might get some strangers with you, but you'll be 2 by 2 sitting in the front. And it's a fun little story. It's lighthearted. Or if you'd like another place where you can just kind of sit and be in the dark, go to the PhilharMagic. If you like the music, you sit in there, you put on 3D glasses, and Donald Duck gets taken through a whole bunch of different stories, and you get to see a little bit of Little Mermaid, and a little bit of Be Our Guest, and a little bit of, songs and stuff from musicals. It's an enjoyable 20-minute sit down relaxing moment. If you sit toward the back of the theater, and you want to be romantic rather than watching the screen, that's on you guys. I am not saying you should be doing anything inappropriate there. I'm just going to throw that out. But if you wanted to kiss your partner, it's not a bad deal. Asking Headshot for their knowledge of any. Oh, gotcha. Paris is not a good, my opinion. Okay. All right. So that stuff I already saw. So once that's done, you're going to head to your resort. This would be around 10:30, 10:45, depending on when the fireworks are. The reason I'm not having you leave immediately after the fireworks is specifically because everybody leaves after the fireworks, and you just don't want to be in that crowd. You want to enjoy yourself. So that's why I say stay back, hit a ride or two, but don't stay till the very end of the night. Because if you stay till the very end of the night, you've got another big rush of people. So that in-between time is going to be your best time to kind of get out. If you don't want to do more rides after the fireworks, you can go to some of the shops, find some places to wander around. Adventureland starts to empty out, and it can become very romantic with the mood lighting, the deep lighting. But you've got some options there. And then go back to your room. The next morning, once you get up, I'm guessing you'll get to your room, I'm going to say around 11:30, pack all your stuff. I'm not having you go to a park until 9 o'clock the next day, and we're going to take you to Animal Kingdom. Remind me, PT Grad, do resorts offer a complimentary bottle of wine for the couple to indulge in? Well, I mean, you can buy wine. You can, there are some pre-packaged kind of gifts and kits you can get where they would be delivered to the room. And some of those are like champagne or wine or something that could be in the room when you got there. So either you guys could pre-order it and have it waiting for you, or you could, someone could gift it to you. If it was for a honeymoon, it could be gifted to you. Just the first night, that is. Yes. And there will be more times to kind of sleep in. So the next day, I actually have you going to Animal Kingdom. I'm going to say getting there at 9, which is actually technically rope drop, mostly so you're not going to be around the crowded stuff. You're going to head over to Dinosaur, which anyone who has gone to Disneyland in California, is the same track as the Indiana Jones ride, but it's going back in time to save a dinosaur. It's a bumpy, rough kind of ride, but it's not a roller coaster by any stretch. It is, but it is in the dark, so you kind of have that romantic edge to it. After you get out of there, if you are a thrill seeker, go to Expedition Everest. If you don't mind getting wet, go to Kali River Rapids as your next thing in the morning. Then, after riding either your big energy rush, either of the 2 rides in the Asia area, you're going to head over toward the Africa area. And at about 10 o'clock, when it opens, you're going to head over to Conservation Station. Now, Conservation Station is going to be reopened. It was not open when I was just back there, but it is, there's a petting zoo. You can learn about the animals. You can see how they care for the animals. It is a fascinating place, actually. And they are now starting, for those of you, again, who have been in Disneyland or here a long time ago, they used to have an animators class where you could sit in a classroom, and then one of the animators would teach you how to draw one of the characters. And they are going to be doing that in Conservation Station, where you can learn to draw one of the animal characters, such as Timon or Pumbaa or something, or Simba or something, but you learn how they draw that animation. And that's kind of a playful, fun activity that you can sit down and do together. Or like I said, you can go pet animals in the petting zoo or learn about them. But it is off the beaten path, not incredibly well advertised. You take a little train ride to get out there, and then a train ride to come back. And it's peaceful. And that's kind of why I'm bringing you out there. It's a little less crazy. And the more opportunities you have for that, the better. When you're done, you're going to come back out and you're going to head over to the other side of Africa, which is where Tusker House is. Now, Tusker House is a character meet and greet. Now, you could say to them you don't want the characters if you don't want to meet them, but you've got Donald and Goofy and Daisy and Mickey in adventurer's gear, and you are going to have really, really wonderful African and Asian foods. They have mealie pop, they have piri piri salmon, they have piri piri. It's written peri peri, but it's piri piri salmon. They've got hummuses and couscous and all kinds of these really unusual foods, as well as macaroni and cheese and fried chicken and all the standard stuff, that for any kind of a palate. But I've been so impressed. I just went back there recently, and I really love the food. Now, if you don't mind spending a little more money, even though I have you going near there late, no, actually, you're not gonna do that. The other option would be to stay in Asia and go to Yak and Yeti if you like more Chinese Asian type food, Asian Indian. And I've been hearing that they've been getting better. Most people I've been speaking to recently have been impressed by them, so I'm going to be giving them another try soon. First thing in the morning, Wild Africa Trek was so magical. Yes, actually, it absolutely was. If they've never been to the parks before, I wouldn't necessarily jump in that. But if you have been in the parks before, then I would say, yeah, skip some of this other stuff. Don't even worry about Conservation Station. Maybe do the rides later if you've got the time. And yeah, Wild Africa Trek runs about $250. However, you get put in a harness. You get walked behind the scenes. You get walked over the crocodile encampment. You get walked over the hippos. And then you get to have a lunch on the savannah with all of the animals in front of you, the flamingos and the elephants on that way, and the springbok and the giraffes and all the other animals, and the Ankole cattle all out on this side. And it is an incredibly peaceful, incredibly beautiful event. You can be breakfasty or lunch, depending on where you go. I think the last one leaves at like 11:45. So there's not a ton of them offered, but it's an incredible kind of photo op thing. And it's because it's you and maybe 10 other people tops, you really get some nice one-to-one interactions with the guides who are taking you around, and you still have a very private experience. Lunch at that spot is not open to anyone. That is true. Yes, it's the only way you can be on there is if you take that tour. And yeah, if you want to spend the money on the tours, absolutely, I would highly recommend Wild Africa Trek. It's wonderful. So after doing that, then I'm going to say, come on back, and you have a choice. There are two sit-down theater shows. There's the Lion King show, which is like a Cirque du Soleil show, where aerialists and acrobats and things like that, and poi spinning, fire juggling. And on the other side, you've got Finding Nemo, which is more like a musical theater show. It's a 35-minute musical show with humans manipulating puppets. And I don't just mean, here's a little puppet. I mean, Nemo is about that big and has one person manipulating that, but Crush has a huge number of people, and all the sharks have like 2 or 3 people. And it's a telling of it done through puppetry and human contact and music. And as Drew can attest, it was a really lovely show. It's one of my favorites. Truthfully, it always makes me cry just because I like the story. But pick one of those. It'll take you about an hour. After that, you're going to head over to Bandora. Depending on the time of year you're going, the sun will be past the worst of its heat right now. Might start to be going down, but you're going to go and do the Navi River journey. My recommendation is to fast pass flights of passage if you can get it, and then stand in the line for Navi River journey. Play it by ear. See what you can get and what you can't get, and then that day change it up. But I'm going to say do Navi River Journey. It's a very slow-moving dark ride. It's beautiful. The animatronic at the end is gorgeous, but it is peaceful, and you're sitting in a large boat like you would for Pirates of the Caribbean. It's still kind of romantic. Then Flights of Passage, which is an adrenaline rush. It's not one I'm all that comfortable riding. I keep my eyes closed through most of it, but it's Soarin' on steroids. You are literally on the back of this, what appears to be a banshee, and you feel the banshee breathing under your legs, and you're flying through this semi-animated world of the banshee world, and it feels very real when you're there. Yeah, it's pretty intense. After that, you're right on the perfect side of the park, and Drew knows where I'm headed next. We're going to take a relaxing moment and head over to Nomad's Lounge. Nomad's Lounge has quiet, kind of funky African music, and these beautiful lounges outside, and you can just sit down on one of the lounge chairs in these little U shapes and put your legs up, or you can sit inside on one of the more comfy chairs and tables, have a nice drink and relax while you wait for your dinner reservation at Tiffin's. And Tiffin's is, again, African inspired foods. It is one of the high-end signature restaurants, and it is quiet. It is a little more romantic. You get a little more privacy, although it's not really a private restaurant, but you can definitely, being there as a couple is still a really, really nice thing, and you would absolutely enjoy it. After that, it's already going to be dark out. As you're heading slowly toward the door, you can stop and look at the Tree of Life and enjoy the Tree of Life. You can head over to see the Rivers of Light show if you would like to see it, sit and see that. The jury's still out. My friends were supposed to go see it on this last trip, and they completely forgot and didn't go. But it's a water projected show with an animal nature theme, but they've started adding like Lion King IP to it and possibly Jungle Book. I haven't seen it, so I can't really tell you on that. But it didn't thrill me when I saw it before, and I have not heard anybody yet say, oh my God, now that they've changed this, it's amazing. That park usually will close somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock. Unless you really want to be out and about, my recommendation is go back to your room. 10 o'clock, get in your room, maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. Have some evening time to yourself. Finish up whatever bottle of wine you got the other night before. If you're at one of the deluxe resorts, you're going to be able to go get something to eat. Grand Floridian has a 24-hour quick service. So, I mean, there's definitely places for stuff. Day 3, I'm going to take you over to Universal. If you want to go to Universal. If you don't want to do Universal, then this could be a more chill day for you. African Asian deep sofa lounge. Yes. Electronica chanting and rolled vibe fuel. Yes. I agree. Okay. So if you're going to do Universal and you're only going to do it for one day, you need to get a park-to-park pass and you need to be there at rope drop. If you really only have one day and you know there's a lot of stuff you want to see, you're going to want to spend the money on the express pass. There are 2 levels of express pass, and from what I can tell, the higher level of express pass only costs another $20 or $30 more a person, and it gives you unlimited entry to all of the rides over and over and over, skipping the line. So I recommend that. Though truth be told, I don't ride a lot of the rougher rides, so sorry, it would not be useful to me. Sorry, I have long hair, but it would be useful to some other people. So you're going to get there to rope drop and you're going to go to Gringotts. Notice I did not say Hagrid's. You're going to the other park. You're starting at Universal Studios. Hagrid's ride seems to be taking a lot more maintenance overnight and fixing and cleaning up. So what's been happening is they have something in their app right now that once you get to the park, turn it on. And then when the Hagrid's ride officially opens each day, they have a pop-up that will let you know that it's open. Because it doesn't open as the park opens. So it's not like you could rope drop it. It happens sometime after that. So I'm starting you on the other side. So you'll do Gringotts, which is your other big long line. You're going to explore that whole area, spend some time in Nocturne Alley, Diagon Alley, get yourself some butterbeer or some ice cream. Yes, I know it's breakfast time. But then head over, once you get the notification, or once you've done that stuff, start to head over to Islands of Adventure using the train, the Harry Potter train. And once you're over there, then you're going to get in line for the Hagrid's ride if it's open. If it's not open, do the castle ride first, and then head over to the Hagrid's ride. After that, I haven't put anything else in the schedule because, again, I don't want you to rush. If you've not been there before, I want you to be able to explore this stuff. And that's when I'm going to say you're going to head out of the park. I realize you haven't been doing a whole lot in there, but you're going to head out of the park and get lunch at Cowfish. Now, if you're more about the rides, you're going to skip all this and do a quick service somewhere and just grab what you can grab. But if you would like good food and something a little more romantic, then I say go to Cowfish. Sit outside on the second level, and you get a lovely view of the parks. You can get burgers or sushi or a combination of both. They have really good drinks. But it's kind of nice, and especially if you go early in the lunchtime, it's pretty peaceful out there, and you kind of have your own space for a little while. And they set people far enough apart that you could still have kind of a romantic moment, romantic conversation. After that, you're going to head back in and you're going to, okay, it's not necessarily romantic, but it's my favorite thing in the parks. You're going to the Raptor Encounter over in Islands of Adventure. It is just another photo op meet and greet. For this one, you do need your own camera. You could bring a video camera too, and they will film you, and you get to meet Blue. And I'm sorry. I love it. I love it to death and back. It's so much fun. It's absolutely silly. Absolutely recommend it. And it's the two of you in a picture with a raptor, and it's just goofy, silly fun, and yeah, you can't go wrong with it. Um, After that, if you are thrill seekers, head over to Hulk. If you are not as much a thrill seeker but can handle a little bit of excitement, go over to Spider-Man. Or something that I wrote that I can't read. Oh, or head to the water rides. They do have love potions in Diagonally that was tiny and expensive. It's keeps. Oh, that's kind of fun. I did not know about that. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Drew. So get a love potion over in Diagon Alley or Nocturne Alley. I guess it was Diagon Alley. Is the love potions probably over in the magic shop of the two brothers. Um, After you've done your thrill ride, etc., I'm going to say head over to Seussland. There is this little trolley ride over in Seussland that you learn the story of the Sneetches as you're going through it, but it is charming and romantic and a simple, lovely ride with a little bit of a story in it. And yeah, I just, first time, just kind of sit and be together. It's kind of fun. So I would definitely recommend that. After that, you're going to head over to the back into the Harry Potter area and go into the projections. See the Harry Potter projections if it's dark enough. And they put these neat little shows on top of the castle. And then you're going to take the train ride and you're going to head back to Studios. Over in Studios, I would recommend, again, depending on your preference, either roller coasters and thrills, you go to Mummy. If you were okay with the Spider-Man ride, try the Transformers ride. It's much the same. Or you could go sit down in the theater and see Shrek, because it's a happy love story anyway, and good triumphs over evil. Fun little movie where your seat bumps around. And again, you're sitting in the theater, so you have that little kind of cuddle up experience again. After that's done, wander around. If there's a ride you want to hit, Men in Black, if you want to be competitive, stuff like that. Otherwise, just stay around for the Cinema Magic Show, which I have heard raves about, and I have not gotten to see it. I'm hoping to do that now. Skull Island, I'm not putting Skull Island or the Fast and Furious ride on there because they just don't have that same kind of sense of romance per se. They're fun. And if you've got the time and there's no line, then sure, go for it. Any of these, what fits your personal preferences, go in there. But if I was thinking of something for a romantic trip, I would do the trolley over Skull Island because there's just something that's sweeter about it, if that makes sense. So yeah, stay for the Cinema Magic Show. It's now fireworks and a much more water-intensive big water projection show. True. It's not as much of a thrill ride. It depends on what you're interested in. Pardon me, that's my screen doing something weird. Then after that, it's actually kind of late, but City Walk is still open and you have not had dinner. And I'm going to recommend going to Vivo. Vivo is an Italian restaurant, and I'm going to put it over Toothsome because I think Toothsome is too big, too busy. And it's shakes and big things. And I think Vivo is going to be a little more adult. And while there are not tons of private, intimate spaces there are some nice spots there. And then after dinner, you're going to head on home. You could stay and watch a movie or something like that, but it's probably going to be around 11 o'clock, maybe later. And you could stay there actually and go to one of the clubs, go to one of the bars because it's an adult area. A lot of that stuff is open late and open till 2 a.m. But this is your night. You're going to stay. You can stay out late, so you can stay a little longer and do stuff. When that is all done, you are going to go home and go to sleep. And you're going to sleep in. Because if all goes well, you're going to time this so that you're doing this on a Sunday. And on Sunday, you're going to schedule the California Grills brunch. Oh, dear God. They've got caviar. They've got lox. They've got unlimited Bellinis or Bloody Marys bars and sushi and all kinds of amazing food. I have not had this. I have seen this. Yeah, I really want to go at some point. I really want to make it. It ain't cheap. It's not cheap. But the day you're about to have right now is your least cheap day of the experience. Yeah, that's true. If you want to take good chocolate, and actually the chocolate is pretty good from Toothsome. I had that afterwards. So yeah, so you're gonna have your brunch California Grill, and it's 2 hours of eating and drinking and enjoying yourself with this beautiful view right out the window of the beautiful California, the whole Disney World and the lagoon, Seven Seas Lagoon. When you're done that, you're going to go downstairs to the 4th floor and you're going to get on the monorail. and you're going to take the monorail over to the Grand Floridian. And then you're going to take a little bit of a walk across the parking lot. You're going to go to the spa, the Senses Spa. And there you're going to get massages, facials, whatever you want to get. And I'm going to say expect to spend at least 3 to 4 hours just enjoying the experience. If you can, they do offer couples massages, I believe, and I would absolutely recommend that as part of your romantic experience. Even if you're doing it alone, you're reveling kind of in that quiet experience, that beautiful, peaceful time together, and you want to have that. Then, while you're still there, before they close around 6, you're going to get all dressed up, and you're going to go back across the parking lot, and you're going now. Granted, if you're staying at the Grand Floridian, this is easier, or one of the monorail resorts. But you're going to head over and have dinner at Victoria and Albert's. This is an 8 or 10 course tasting meal, so little tiny portions of multitudinous foods. It is extraordinary food. It is exceptional food. It is a wonderful experience. You can get it with or without wine pairings. It is not cheap. With the wine pairings, you could be anywhere up to about $400 to $500 a person, and that's without the additional food upgrades like the Kobe beef and the austerity, etc. But this is an experience, and I'm going to recommend that you don't sit in the main room, but if you can get it, go into the Queen's room. Only 8 people sit in that room, so it really is going to be more intimate, more private, and you will have a server for you, and you can't pass that kind of an experience up. And at the end, you get a rose and chocolates, and yeah, you can't pass that up for romance. Once you're done, you're already at the Grand Floridian. You're going to take a short walk out to where Narcoosseous is, and you're going to go watch those fireworks you saw the other night in the park from a much quieter spot. You're going to be able to hear the music piped in. You're going to be able to watch everything. It is peaceful and uncrowded. And from there, you're going to take an Uber, Lyft, or minivan back to your hotel. Minivan is more expensive, but it's higher quality in terms of better. They have all the Disney music in there. The people are well informed. They're cast members of Disney, but it is 3 times the cost of an Uber or a Lyft. Either way, get the fast way home. You will be full and romanticized, and you don't want to spend that time trying to get through mass transit. It's not worth it. Your other option, if you don't want to do Narcoosseous, is you can take the monorail back over to California Grill to watch the fireworks from the rooftop there, since you had the brunch there this morning. Style is amuse-bouche, and cost is also doesn't include tips. That is true. Well, no, tip tax and everything was $4.85 for me when I did it. It's unforgettable, worth it. Yes, it is absolutely amazing. It's a little better. The first piece you got was an amuse-bouche, and actually that's what you had was an amuse-bouche. Then it's tastings where they were more substantial. Amuse-bouche is literally just like an individual bite, or 2 to 3 bites kind of thing. It's not a big thing, but this is, again, small tasting plates, third portions, half portions, not a full meal for all of it. And by the end of 8 or 10 of them, you're stuffed, but extraordinary. So that's day 4. Day 5, we're going to Hollywood Studios. Now, if you're staying on property, that means you could get up really, really early to do extra magic hours if you're doing this at any time after August 29th, and go to Galaxy's Edge. Get in there before the crazy is taken over the whole thing. Enjoy the new rides. One of them will be open immediately. The other one hopefully will be open soon after. Then depending on, and I'm saying I'm going to give you 3 hours just to explore the area. Do whatever you want to do in there. Buy a droid, get a lightsaber made, go to Oga's Cantina, go ride the Millennium Falcon. Whatever you can do during that time, go for it. Ronto Roasters supposedly makes some really amazing breakfast sandwiches. So all of that stuff. Then once you've done that, then we're going to get you out of there, and we're going to head you to the other side of the park. And if you're a thrill seeker, this is only if you're a thrill ride seeker, either Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, normally I would say, hey, do single rider for Rock and Roller Coaster. Not if this is a couple's trip, you want to not do single rider lines, unless only one of you really likes that ride and the other one is being generous and says, go, I'll sit here, like me. Yes, tiny plates I will go for. So where are we? Day 5. After that, it's not the best food. It's burgers and shakes, and average at that, from what I've been told. But I'm going to recommend you have lunch at the Sci-Fi Diner, the Sci-Fi Drive-In. You sit in the car, and it's like you're sitting in an old movie theater in the 50s watching scary science fiction movies, and it's charming, and you have a burger and a shake with your sweetie, and it's you can cuddle up in the car while you're watching, having your lunch and enjoying the experience. So for a romantic concept, that seems to work. You're going to head out of there. You're going to head back to Toy Story Land. If you have managed to fast pass for Slinky Dog, great. Don't do it immediately after, because, well, I can't do it immediately after. You might be fine. But I would say start with Toy Story Midway Mania, maybe Alien Swirling Saucers if you don't like things as rough. And if you can do roller coasters of any kind, some people might find it bland. It was a lot. It's still a lot for me. But again, I can't do as much. But go ahead and enjoy that whole area. If you're still hungry after lunch, if you didn't get dessert, you could get one of the toaster cakes. They do have adult beverages there. I think it's like Mom's Lemonade or something like that. So you've got some options there. After that, and I don't do this often. Oh, right. So now we're going to leave the park. You'll be coming back, don't worry. But this is about, I'm going to say around 4:30. You're going to leave the park and you're going to find the bus to go over to the Port Orleans Riverside. And over at Port Orleans Riverside, they do 25-minute horse-drawn carriage rides. Why not? Go there, get the horse-drawn carriage ride. You're past at about 5 o'clock, you're past the worst of the heat of the day. I don't know how late in the day they do them, which is why I'm suggesting it now. If you find out they run later in the evening, do it even later in the evening when it's cooler and more comfortable. Take a 25-minute ride on a horse-drawn carriage. How romantic. What a lovely, lovely thing. It's a nice break in the middle of the day. You enjoy that. You can have that kind of quiet time. And then you're going to head back to Hollywood Studios, and we're going to have dinner at Hollywood Brown Derby. They have some private and more quiet rooms in the back. Now, if you don't want to go quite so fancy, you want to go a little faster, then the lounge outside Hollywood Brown Derby is quite good. Small tasting plates again, mini versions of salads and things. And there are lots of tables for two there, and you're right out in the open courtyard, and the air is lovely, and that's another nice experience. Once you're there, and you're going to get to dinner around like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, the fireworks are at 9:30, so if you take your time eating your dinner, if you're doing it at the lounge, there's your view right there of the fireworks. Or if you want to get closer, just a few steps away, and you can go watch those Star Wars fireworks. Now, if it's Christmas time, you may not get the fireworks you want, unfortunately. And I'm hoping when I bring my friends this Christmas, they actually will show the Star Wars fireworks because I like them so much better than the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam thing. Sorry. I know it's Christmassy stuff. Other people love it. So, so enjoy the fireworks. And then instead of going back to your room, you're going to hop on the boat outside rather than the buses, and you're going to head over to the boardwalk, and you're either going to go to Jelly Rolls or you're going to go over to the Atlantic Dance Hall, and you can go dancing, or you can listen and sing along with the piano bars. Either are great kind of fun, adult, nice entertainment. Hang out as long as you want, and then from the boardwalk, take an Uber back to your hotel. You could bus back to one of the parks to try to it doesn't work as well. I know it costs a little bit more, but honestly, from resort to resort, it's not going to be bad. Go ahead and take the Uber and make your life a little happier. So that, and then you're going to be, oh, no, I take it back. Once you're done with Jelly Rolls, before you Uber back, over at the boardwalk, at the Beach Club, which is right over by the boardwalk, go over to Beaches and Cream. And you could do this if you don't want to do Jelly Rolls, etc. Don't get dessert at Hollywood Studios. Save it. After the fireworks, go over to Beaches and Cream and get ice cream sundaes. And there's really something kind of cool about, again, that 1950s energy and shakes and ice cream with your sweetie sitting in there. It's a lovely kind of fun way to end out your evening. Very romantic, kind of in a sweet way. Again, in a general kind of fun, sweet, romantic way. Day 6, Epcot. Epcot all day, all night. And there's not actually, as I look at this, I really didn't do park hopping with this. So unless you really want to do all day, all night, don't get the park hopper. One day per park and really enjoy that time in that park with those events. I think for a romantic trip where you're not, oh my God, we must get everything done kind of thing. Yeah, don't do that to yourself. So I'm going to start you in the morning with Test Track so that you don't have to do the single rider line. You just go in and immediately do it at rope drop so you can ride together. Then you're going to go next door to Mission Space. If you like it rough and spinny, You go with the orange version if you want something a little more romantic. You do the green version, which is where you slowly travel around the earth together. In the morning, if it's not too busy, you might be the only two on the thing and you can be controlling all of the positions. Then you're going to head across the way to Soren. Now, I'm going to caveat with this that this is saying that none of the other construction has taken place yet, which if you have been following all of the other news, oh dear God, they're going crazy over in Epcot. They're pretty much taking away all of Innoventions East, including Club Cool, the Starbucks, everything is getting relocated and redone. I don't know if they're tearing the buildings down and rebuilding them, or if they are going to be repurposing the internals and not doing the externals. I'm getting the impression they're doing some externals too. But that whole center area is just, I mean, it's going to be changing. They're going to be moving Mouse Gear at the end of the year to a temporary location, I'm assuming right after Christmas. And then they're kind of getting rid of whatever they're getting rid of on the other side. I think the only things that are going to be left, Club Cool is going to be repurposed or reimagined somewhere else. Starbucks is going somewhere else. And the Electric Umbrella and Mouse Gear will re-exist eventually. I have no idea what the rest of it's going to be, and we won't know until they start talking at D23 at the end of August. So you might get some more information then, but it's pretty major for others. The reason they're updating is not only to keep things fresh and fun, but also for the 50-year anniversary. Yeah, and I mean, they're trying to get everything done by 2021, which is the actual 50th anniversary of Magic Kingdom, but the whole parks for all intents and purposes. So once you finish doing Soren, once you finish that, you're going to go across, you're going to go to Soren. You could do Living with the Land as well, but I like Living with the Land. A lot of people don't, but I like it, and I like going through the biosphere and seeing all that stuff. It's a nice photo op place, but I think even more romantic than that is going to be going over to the Imagination Pavilion and going to the Pixar movies and seeing 3 little 3D shorts. Some are sweet, some are sad, some are funny, and sit in a movie theater and hold hands and watch a movie together. Again, be romantic within reason. Once you're done the movies, then you're going to head over and do lunch at Le Cellier, which is a steakhouse in Canada. It is dark. It is romantic. It's not a very, very big place, so you get a little more privacy. The last time that Drew and I were there, we were put in a corner where it would have been a great romantic spot, which kept happening to us, but that's, the way of things. But have that lovely romantic dinner. I'm giving you about an hour and a half. No, I'm giving you 2 hours. And after that, from 2:30 till 7 o'clock at night, you're just going to wander the countries. Stop in, talk to the people from the countries, shop, try snacks, try drinks. You stop in Mexico and go to the tequila bar, look at the Coco setup, or go do the Three Caballeros ride. That's kind of silly and fun. But just take your time and relax and enjoy the exploration together. Then for dinner. Now, here's the challenge, and it depends on your food palette. It depends on whether or not you want to have a really, really long dinner and watch the fireworks while you're having dinner, or if you want to come back to the park after you have dinner. But I've got 3 different restaurants you could potentially choose. The first one is Flying Fish. Would mean you would walk out of the park or take the boat out of the park and head over to the boardwalk and have dinner at Flying Fish. It is wonderful seafood, high-end restaurant. There's a lovely Abracadabra right next to it for good drinks. But it's a lovely, wonderful food restaurant. I highly recommend it. My next suggestion is Monsieur Paul, which is the high-end French restaurant. And if you have dinner there, you could eat dinner a little bit later, eat slowly and ask for a window table, and then be able to see the fireworks from your table. But you will not hear the music being piped in. Okay. The last one that I would recommend, and this is not totally unseen. I've seen a little bit of video because it just opened yesterday. Takumi Te, which is the Japanese new restaurant, high-end. The prefix menu is $125 per person, plus $85 or $75 for wine pairings, sake pairings, etc. It is an experiential Japanese cuisine meal. The rooms are set up by stone, air, fire, water, and clay. There's different elements, and each room has a different element. Each of the rooms have different drinks. Yes, go look up a WDW Drew, WDW Magic, and they have a review there, and they list what's in the drinks. I have seen a sit down, some people going in and sitting down, and it is very much an experience, very much a moment. Oh dear. Thank you very much, dear. That's cute. No one puts me in a corner. That's right. But I'm saying at least 2 hours for dinner at any of these restaurants to absorb the atmosphere. Takumite, the rooms were small, so it's definitely a higher level experience. You're going to get a more romantic experience. Monsieur Pole, French food. Not a whole lot of kids eating there, so you're going to have a nice romantic meal. Or Flying Fish, again, high end, really good seafood restaurant. All of these are yummy. All of these are yummy. When you're done, head on out back into Epcot, either coming back to Epcot or out of your restaurant. And you're going to head over, if you're at Le Cellier or Flying Fish, you can go to Canada, the Canadian water area. If you are over at Japan, you could stay at Japan, or if there's not a good viewing area there, head over to Italy and see if you can get over that bridge for Italy, and enjoy the fireworks, whatever they're going to be. And even if they've changed by the time you see this, because Epcot Forever is going to be taking over on October 1st, enjoy that experience. Once you're done, this is your last official night out. So if you have a park hopper, go ahead and park hop if you want, or go back out and do something you didn't do one of the other nights. Let it be its experience. Let the movement take you. You could go to the Polynesian and sit on the beach with a drink. Depending on how late Trader Sam's is open, you can get a drink on at the outer window and then sit on the beach and have a lovely romantic quiet moment out there too. There are plenty of options. Again, if you have one of the high-end resorts, they all have nice romantic spaces. Now, I have not listed beach time in any of these, and beach time could be included in any of these should you wish. Your last day, often I would put it in there, but I want to get you to all those fireworks, because the fireworks really are kind of romantic in their own right. But I have you doing, if you want to hit the pool in the morning or sleep in a little bit here, I have about 10 o'clock you heading out, and we're going to head over to Homecoming or to Morimoto Asia for your brunch/lunch. You're going to, both of them, Homecoming is amazing food. Morimoto is amazing food. Also, just a hair kind of, has a slightly more adult energy to it than Homecoming does, but I loved Homecoming. I will absolutely rave about Homecoming. And then for your last kind of romantic experiences, go get that balloon. And darn it, you take the balloon, since I haven't been able to yet. And go up and see the view all around you. Go ahead and wander over to the ganachery and get some wonderful chocolate. Play with the people over in Chapel Hats. Get a Dole Whip if you haven't done it already over by the refreshment port stand. Enjoy the day. There's live music playing. Go sit and listen to the music. If you are into virtual reality, you could go do the Void, either of the versions of the Void. Takumite. Yeah, that's what I said. Takumite. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, Takumite. Yeah. Sorry, I should have spelled it out. I didn't realize you were looking for that, Drew. Sorry. But and then your last meal, I'm going to suggest the Boathouse. While it is not my favorite restaurant, I have heard a lot of, I'm going to give it another try if I can this year. I just finished booking all of my holiday reservations and we could not get it. Right now I'm doing Morimoto Asia for a full dinner, whereas before I just did appetizers there. But if I can get to Boathouse, yeah, I absolutely want to try that. The other one I really want to try that's not open yet, and if it opens, I want it, is the Space Restaurant. So yeah, Takumite and the Space Restaurant are my two, oh my God, I really, really want to do this. And we'll see. I right now have a reservation at Monsieur Paul for Christmas Day. And if Takumite opens very soon and is available, I'm grabbing that as my Christmas dinner to myself. Because, yeah, I'm going to give it a try. So, yeah. So, and basically you're going to enjoy the Disney Springs area up until about 3 hours, 3.5 hours before your flight, because at about 3 hours you have to get on the Magical Express. So you're going to give yourself about 45 minutes, or if you want to do an Uber, you could get home faster, home to your hotel faster, and then go ahead and get on your Magical Express and let them take you back to the airport. Before you leave for your hotel that morning, what you're actually going to do is take your bags to your front desk, especially if you're flying Southwest. They will pre-check your bags onto the plane and give you your boarding passes. And then literally you just get, if you have a carry-on, you'll come back for your carry-on, which you'll have checked at the front desk. But if you don't have a carry-on, you literally will just be able to get to the Magical Express, walk on, and then get on the plane and not see your bags again until you land. Kind of amazing. Um, but that is my more romantic trip. What I recommend, though, if you're doing this for romance, take a bunch of breaks in the afternoon, or if you don't take a break in the afternoon, do an earlier dinner, like a 6, 7, 8 o'clock dinner, and then go to your room afterwards, or do stuff at your resort. Um, you could do the movie night where you make s'mores over at Fort Wilderness with Chip and Dale. You could, I mean, it's technically made for kids, but we're all a kid at heart when you come to these places. So, absolutely, please throw in another plug, Mr. Drew. Whatever you suggest, I would be curious what you suggest. I'm sorry we didn't get more people kind of in now, but I realize we're summer now on Saturdays, and it's probably not as easy for people to be around. Um, but yeah, it's a wonderful, fun. It's a place where you wouldn't think that you can be romantic and have that kind of quiet, intimate time, but there are very quiet spaces just snuck in around everything. Some of those things have an upcharge to them. They do, but they're worth it. They absolutely are. So I'm hoping you are almost done typing, sir, because I would throw this out for questions now. Um, Guy, lost my text, still typing. Okay, go ahead, keep typing. La 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 la. Um, so for those of you who are watching at this point, please like this video if you have enjoyed it, if you learned anything new, if you've gotten any suggestions. Go ahead and put a comment in the bottom. Let me know what things you would suggest for somebody doing a romantic trip. What other activities, because people will read the comments and they'll learn something new, and they'll pick up something that's special, especially after this, because Lord knows everything's going to change in another year. Whatever you think would be helpful. Click the bell icon down there, and that will help you know when I'm about to post something new, or when I'm online now, and you'll be able to not miss it. If you have the memory maker, spend time seeking out all the Disney photographers and the Disney app shows. Yes. Oh yeah. I said that at the beginning, but yes, I agree. I will reiterate that. I will also say in Disney Springs, there's a Photoshop booth. There's a shop there where you can go in with your memory maker and just do a whole bunch of fun poses, and they'll put pretty backgrounds behind you. So you can get a whole bunch of fun stuff there too. That's all included on your memory maker, no additional charge. But so as I said, if you've enjoyed this, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't. I don't get paid for this. I don't make a dime off of any of this, at least not now. Eventually, maybe it would monetize if more people are, subscribe, etc. But I'm nowhere near that. I do not make my living out of making Disney planning. I I do it because I love it, and I do it because I love to plan, and I enjoy being able to share what I've learned and to help other people have the best possible experience they have. So if you guys don't have any other questions, or if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below, or kind of off to, no, it's always going to be below actually on the screens, and let me know what things you would like to know about, what topics you'd like me to talk about next. Even if you respond to this months down the line, if I'm still doing live chats or I'm still doing this stuff, you'll absolutely get some fun information, and I'll absolutely be able to do what I can to help answer or address things you want to know more about. With that being said, we are at just about an hour. I hope you've had an amazing time. I hope you learned a whole lot, and I hope you have a great night. And all right, I don't have a tagline. Good night.